previously, Touya was resurrected in a magical world by God after he accidentally killed him, so to make up for it, he gave Touya a boost in status in this world. And with this magic and his humble nature, he got 7 girls in harem and even got engaged with all of them, and having 2 princesses in harem, so both of their father. King Tristwen and Zephyrus made Touya a king of a small nation and he named it Brunhild. But there was a lingering threat hanging over this world from a crystal monster who wanted to destroy this world, so to save the world, Touya was finding floating ruins, through which he could obtain information on those crystal monsters and a weapon to defeat them. But for now his life is peaceful as he goes to attend the wedding of Olga and Lion, which would set up a new relationship between humans and beastmans. And seeing them, Shu and his harem can't wait to have their wedding day like this one, as they started fantasizing their own wedding. So Yumina gets the idea to make their relationship stronger by going out on a date, and since Touya has become a king of his own nation, he doesn't give enough time to his girls. So it would be a great time for a date, so all of them gets up to date with the clothes that Touya had designed. However, the first thing they did was play a rock, paper, scissors game. And the winner Linz and Lucia got to snuggle up Touya temporarily, then after some time they switched places with Els and Yumina. For the first time they were having a great time other than fighting or working, but when they decided to see a drama some idiots tried to mess with them and girls handled it on their own. Then as their date came to an end, Shu was angry that she was left behind on this date, so she got a special one-on-one date with him. They hang out in Touya's own new kingdom, and throughout their date Touya noticed his kingdom was flourishing nicely and the people there were also happy. But then through Kokaku, Flora contacted Touya to inform him that the fuel for the giant robot has been completed. He was waiting for this moment to get his hands on that robot. But he let Yai try it out first because she has the least magic power in the group to see if it could work even with low magic power. And since it doesn't have any kind of issues, all the girls tried it out first, leaving Touya behind who was much more eager to play with it. Then eventually in the workshop Rosetta made a fine crystal sword from those crystal monsters for Touya. And further down the road Touya was thinking of obtaining a mineral named orichalcum which somewhat would come in handy for those giant robots known as frame gears. But it's a much more rare ore than those mithril one, so Touya thought of finding golem of orichalcum like he found mithril golems. Then Touya got their location with his phone and the nearest one was in the Lestia kingdom, but when he arrived there, he saw a nearby town was being destroyed by those crystal monsters and the knights were no match for them, so Touya lent them a hand by kicking out all of those monsters alone. In addition he met the lovely princess of Lestia named Hildegard, and Touya was quite famous that even princess had heard about him being the youngest king. And she was even more impressed to see that he took out those crystal monsters so easily that none of her knights or herself were about to defeat them. And she noticed sharply that his sword is made by those monsters, so Touya noticed she was interested in that sword, so he gave out a few extra one to her, and that made her so happy at that time. Then Touya got what he came for and saw a deer. Touya subconsciously followed it and he led him to a girl that was severely injured. Touya immediately took her to the alchemy ward of Babylon and Flora healed both of her missing limbs. But the only problem was that she had lost her memories. So Touya picked up a temporary name for her by her gorgeous light pink aura, and named her Sakura, and now that she is fine, Touya shifted her to his home and told the situation to Els and Lucia. Then after their conversation, Els left to go for her training and Lucia left to practice cooking, and today Touya didn't have much of his office work. So he gets to the garden to check up on Sakura and heard her singing in a lovely voice. She only remembered that this song hold a place in her heart. And hearing her Touya got an idea and brought her to the piano room. There Touya started playing the piano that he learned on Earth, and listening to him Sakura began singing with her lovely voice. And all of the girls became enchanted with her voice, so even servants began to come by to listen to her. Then Prim from the guild came to Touya with a job request to kill a monster named Catoblepas, who has mystic eyes that petrify his enemy and spews poison from his mouth. It is a rare monster that is hard to come by, and there is only one person who can defeat this monster other than Touya. And that person is the previous king of Lestia Kingdom, who is already in his 70s and is the grandfather of Princess Hildegard. So Touya accepted this job and promised to save those other adventurers along the way. So Touya considered going there alone, but his girls wouldn't let him, so they all tagged along. But before they arrived at the location, Touya made some new weapons for all of them that are made up of those crystal monster. Then with them they get to the place where monster resides. And to fight it off Touya add recovery spell to their engagement ring, so even if the petrification starts they can get out of it. Now the hunt begins. and as they strike first, Touya accidentally saw its eyes, but before petrification he killed it, and yet the effects were rising, so with the recovery spell it wore off, but it took away Toya's shoes. But then Lucia started to get petrified even as she saw its eyes while it was dead. So Linz calmed her down, and after using recovery spell it ripped off her stocking and skirt, and in addition even her underwear was cleaned off. But then another one appeared, and Touya used a spell he learned to block its vision, which helped a lot in killing it, and the guild paid them nicely. And now, after that he gave some dummy model of framed gears so that other king could also get the hang of using it, which would become a great help when the invasion of crystal monsters began. So he gave those spare units to them so that they could practice it even more. But that ends our video for today, but don't forget to subscribe to receive the most recent updates on our new videos.